So I think it's fitting. This is out for all intents and purposes. I'll say this is the relaunch of season 3 of the podcast, and I think it's very fitting as you got me into everything involved with my entertainment side. With the comedy, you had your comedy and hip hop show. You made sure I didn't drown. When I was learning how to swim at the swim. I mean, damn, you've been at the forefront of a lot of my shit. And you got me into the podcasting game, so I think it's very fitting that with the kickoff of season 3 here, we got you back on the show. So, Beejus, Brandon, what's going on, bro? How you been?
I've been good, man. It's an honor to be on your show.
Yeah.
And it's good to catch up because we haven't sat down to talk, like, besides a random text message or you talking hella shit in response to one of my stories on Instagram. We haven't had a chance to like actually catch up, so it's dope to do it on wax with you for sure.
When was the last time I saw you? I think the last time I saw you was before the pandemic.
100%.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, before the pandemic. Did you come down? Yeah, you came down and did a show.
Yeah, which I DJ'd your show and then Langston performed. That was then.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, so all right, so just to reintroduce, Brandon is from West Oakland, California.
Yes, sir.
No, the last time I was with you, you had a party at your crib. YB's house.
At YB house, baby. Damn, I mean, that was I don't know. I don't even remember when that was.
Yeah. But so for those who don't know, Brandon, you're a resident of Oakland, California. How I first met you, he worked at the same pool that I was learning how to swim and on a swim team with. And then just to kind of see from afar, because obviously we weren't like thick and thin through our entire lives, but then just kind of bounce back and see, you started performing music. So, we've talked about that on previous episodes. Fast forwarding into, when I graduated college, you encouraged me to try out comedy because you had your own spot where you and Langston were hosting a comedy and hip hop show. And then you encouraged me to continue on. I became your co-host for a little bit at that. And that honestly, like, we can get into this a little bit, but the production of the shows I actually found to be a lot more entertaining for me than the actual performance, which is I think it's like the business side of me. But yeah, I took that, moved down to Southern California to try to pursue the comedy space. And that I saw you continue on with music. Been to a couple of your shows. The last show I went to, you were screaming "bitch" at the top of your lungs.
was that at Oaklandish?
Yes, yeah.
He was like, "Nigga, you didn't even need no mic at all."
Oh man. And then you really your podcast took off, which was inspiring to me. Again, yet another. Damn, I owe you royalties and shit at this point if I ever make it. And then you started traveling and in a travel blog, which is dope. I mean, that's not something that a lot of people that I grew up with do. And I just always love that at the root of everything you do, you always try to inspire. So I'll let you take it from there, man. Like, why is it that everything you do, you do with the purpose of trying to inspire other people?
I think it's just me paying it forward because the things that I do is usually inspired by somebody else. And if I get a good feeling from something, so like say for instance with music, right? When I was a kid, I was super inspired by Michael Jackson. Most kids were growing up in the 80s and the 90s, right? And so I remember as a kid, like I would watch Michael Jackson on TV and I wanted to replicate that because like he looked hella cool dancing, so I wanted to dance and shit. But then I would see the effect that he had on me. Like he would make me feel so joyous when I would watch him perform that I wanted to recreate that feeling for others. So that's when I was a kid, it inspired me to do music because I wanted to replicate the same feeling I got watching Michael Jackson. I wanted to give that feeling to others, And so that's usually what it is. Like my whole thing about in life is just feeling good, laughing, smiling, having a good time, and I want to do that with people in my life. I want to be able to provide that feeling, because there's so much shit in the world that can make us depressed, that can make us down on ourselves, doubt ourselves, which is things that I suffer from myself. So I don't ever want to be the source of like negative energy for other people.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying. I always want to just like pay that shit forward. But if something makes me feel good, I want to replicate that feeling for others.
That's crazy, because I just had this speech with somebody else with so much going on, and I think I'd love to hear how you navigated all of that through the pandemic as well. But what got you then? What got you transitioning away from music? Because that's, I think, like the last like real conversation that we had recorded and released on here.
Right. Okay. So funny that we brought up that time that I came to DJ your show down in Los Angeles, because that was a very pivotal. It was one of the pivotal moments in me getting outside of music. So before that happened, I had already started traveling. So I took my first trip in 2016. It was October 2016. I went to Japan, and it really changed my, it like ruined my life in the best way possible. Right? So now, even let me take it back a little bit further than this. So I had already started realizing, like, so 2015 was when my music was doing the absolute best in my entire life, right? And I remember I had gotten an article written about me in, I think it was the, what was the name of that publication?
Express?
East Bay Express, yeah, thank you. So I remember that happening, and it was like a cover, like I had gotten put on the cover of this East Bay Express. It was like a huge monumental, moment. I wasn't even excited. It was a very weird feeling. And at that moment, I was like, okay, something has changed, because I used to be so passionate about music. I used to like want to make it so fucking bad. And then when I get to this like monumental moment, I remember not even feeling that excited about it. And, you know, I'm very self-aware, you know what I'm saying? So when I don't have a natural like excitement for something, I was like, okay, what does this mean? You know what I'm saying? And so I remember that was the point where I realized that like looking back, I realized that was the point where it started, where I realized I didn't want to do music anymore. I didn't realize it then, you know what I'm saying? Because I was still churning out music. I was still making music. But that was the point like where like it started. And so as
it
the
kind of went
time
from like passion, it went kind of from like passion to work.
Right, exactly. And I was just about to say, like, I would continue to work on music, but that shit started to feel like homework. Like it started to feel like more of a burden. Like, oh, it's like I don't want to sit down and write music, but I have to, because I told myself, like, you know, I have to write an hour a day. Like I kind of took that Seinfeld method of like sitting down and making sure I write 1 hour a day, and then going to a calendar and putting an X on that day and making sure I kept my streak up, you know? And so it started to feel more and more like a chore as time went on. And then 2016 comes around, I go to Japan, and then like 5 months later, I go to Thailand. Completely ruined my life in the best way possible, because the things that I was really passionate about, none of that shit mattered anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I went to Japan, and I was like, oh, I love, like, you know, I had so much fun in Japan, and like exceeded my expectations. But it wasn't until I went to Thailand and did a solo trip, like one backpack, you know, barely even planned the trip out, just kind of like did my thing, and like completely fell in love. Like the feeling I would get in my gut was, you know, it was like a physical feeling of joy that I was getting from when I was in Thailand and shit. Like
That's
even
crazy.
thinking about it now, it's like getting emotional reaction in my body, you know? And so you know, of course, then I was meeting people that were like on their like 6 months traveling. They're continue on to other countries, and I'm going back to this fucking horrible fucking government job that I was working at the time, and I'm like, damn, I
I've
have
never
to,
seen you. Oh my god!
it's all coming back now, right?
Oh shit! That is crazy.
It's all coming back now, right?
Oh my god, that's funny, man.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like, okay, I let's fast forward now to when I came down to LA with Langston, because me and Langston drove down, we drove there and drove back in a rental.
Right.
And so there was this point, Langston, this nigga was always trying to say he does not remember this, but we had such a successful weekend down in LA when it comes to like, rubbing shoulders, shaking hands, like all the social interactions we had, all the business connections we made. We had such an amazing weekend that on the drive up, we were just kind of like talking about it, reminiscing, and Lang started crying.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
because he was just so like happy and kind of overwhelmed with the success. Like we were just kind of like, the ball was rolling for our lives. And I remember then, I was like, man, I got to make something happen. I got to make some type of change happen. I don't know if it's going to be me quitting the job, because I was working in Berkeley at this job. Like, no slight to them, but it was just not a job that I was
It's actually a
thriving in.
depressing place you were working at. It's like
It was very good. It was very good. I forgot you knew.
Yo,
It's all starting. I totally forgot that.
God, it's like the worst of the worst, like environment to have to work in. And I'm not gonna say. I'm sorry for the listeners. I'm not gonna say, but it's quite hilarious.
Yeah, it was a very old building, very dark. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm stuck in a fucking a room with like a window that doesn't point anywhere. It just wasn't conducive to my lifestyle. And so I remember I was like, on that drive home, my mind was racing, and I was like, okay, I need to figure out a way to get my life to have more openness to it, so that I can start traveling more, because that's where my life is headed. I know that my life is headed to explore the world. And so it was like, I'm either going to have to quit my job and go like full force into my entertainment side of life, or I'm gonna have to try to find another type of job that's gonna allow me to have more money and more
freedom,
and more like time in my life. Right. So then that leads me on a quest to find another job, but also continue to do music. And now another thing that happened in all of this is I fell out with my business partner and the person I was making music with. Okay. And it was a very bad fallout as well. And so that kind of also pushed me away from doing music. So once I was done with my business partner and the person that was like producing all of my music, I continued on and I put out another album. But during my last album, which was called Beautiful, it was such a fucking chore to get through. Okay, that I was like, in the middle of it, I was like, I'm not doing any more music after I'm done with this album, because
that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. You say that, because I would argue you say most of the songs on there did one of the best that you put out.
Yeah, but it wasn't an enjoyable experience for me. You know what I'm saying? I was not having a happy time. I wasn't having a good time, and so I put that album out. It had good, it had a good
reception.
Reception. But then I did like a listening party for it before I dropped it. Then I dropped the album, and then I did like a performance after the album dropped. But the performance was like literally a day after I got back from London. So I went to London for a weekend. Had an amazing time. Then I come back on a Monday, and then like my performance was on a Tuesday. I go to the performance, and it was like 10 people there. And I'm done. I'm not doing this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a literal like two-sided thing where I went on this fucking trip, had an amazing time, to come back to like all my hard work with 10 people to show up on my show. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with this life.
Ah,
So, and I didn't do any more music after that.
it is so crazy the parallel that I've experienced. And as you were talking, I was trying to break it down a little bit deeper in my head because like I have a similar feeling as you. So um, I guess what was it like when the pandemic happened in 2020 when it started, right? So right before then, I was entering one of my most recent depressions that I went through. So um, I was performing a lot more. I was actually getting like paid gigs now. I'm getting asked to perform. People are gonna put me up in hotels. Like this is supposed to be an enjoyable time of my life right now, and it became to
Right.
feel like a chore. So there was that. My job, I was not enjoying at the time. I was dealing with a really trash manager. I had a couple things going on in my personal life. I was also going through a breakup, also in addition, and it was like I just need a break, and I just kept on getting
I'm
opportunities.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you because I totally laughed at your breakup, but it was only because of a conversation that me and you have had about my
Oh yeah.
most recent
Oh
breakup.
oh oh.
Hoping we
Oh,
would
oh.
get to my bad, my bad. I
Yo,
swear to God,
that's
I
the
wasn't
last
laughing
time.
at you
That's
for
the
your breakup.
that may be the last text exchange we had. It's all good. She got COVID.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh
Sorry,
man.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. My bad,
No,
my
no,
bad.
no, no, no. So, like, so I was getting opportunities to perform, but it wasn't like, my Instagram wasn't blowing up, or I wasn't really, uh, I wasn't getting asked to do those big LA venues. But it was still stuff that I needed to put. Like, it was a slow escalation, and then you start getting your small fans, right? Which I appreciate y'all, but that's not really. And I just wanted a break. And I
Right.
kept getting these opportunities that I could not say no to. And so I performed at one of my friends' shows. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm gonna do it for you. You don't have to pay me anything like that. And this is it. I'm gonna take a break. Damn near, lo and behold, like 3 weeks later, someone eats a bat, right? And the universe is like, oh, you need a break? I'm gonna give you a break. It's crazy. So everything shuts back down. I don't know. I go to convert and start making home videos, and I start focusing more on the podcast. Fast forward to I live in San Diego now. About a year ago, I performed at an open mic. First time I touched a mic, bro. First time, and my knees were shaking. Like I was nervous on stage. I was, it was. I was like, "What? Am I nervous? Like, what the fuck?" Because I had been performing since like 2014 at that point. And then I went back the following weekend, and I think I did pretty well. But it was more of a like the first time I performed at your show at my first open mic, I walked off and felt high, bro. Like I felt like there was just a crazy release of like whatever. Like I no amount of drugs or alcohol I'd ever done had made me feel the way I felt walking off stage. This most
Right.
recent time I walked off, it was like a relief. I was done. I was like, "Ooh, thank God that's over." And I was like, "Oh, this ain't it.
Mhm.
This is not right yet." Um, so it's just interesting, and I think about going back to where you saw yourself in the Express catalog or magazine, excuse me, and then I'm getting these opportunities finally, which are paid a little. I, are there points along the way that could have changed for you and I? And I think about it like, was I disappointed in where I was for the effort I put in? I think so. I think a lot of it's like, man, fuck, like I know I'm funnier than that dude, and I hated people saying that because I know it's all subjective, but I think I got discouraged by where I was, but I was where I needed to be too at the same time. Like I'm happy that everything had played out the way it had. I learned a
Right.
lot. Yeah. That's my response to getting that. Like if I had seen this 2 years prior, I'd have been elated, but this is not where I'm at right now mentally.
Though, for me, as I look back, though, I'm happy that I stopped making music because I am so much more happy. A lot of
Mm,
my angst and depression came from music. It
mm,
came from like, it came from trying, and it's also with the social media as well. It was like
mm,
making me into something that I was not. I was
mm.
trying to put on this character. I was trying to like do these things. And there's moments that I look back and I'm like cringing
Yeah,
about the
right.
things I was saying or things I was doing because I was trying to be this like cool rapper nigga. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it just wasn't me. Like the talent was there,
Yeah.
but my the way that I was going about certain things just wasn't the right way. And I'm very like there's certain parts of my music, not the actual music, but the things that I was doing as a rapper that I'm fucking embarrassed about. You know what I'm saying? And so that was just taking a toll on me. And but also I was doing music for hella long, more than 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just that was a chapter of my life. Like I'm very proud of what I was able to accomplish, like the body of work that I was able to put out. I'm so proud of that shit. But just the way that I'm feeling about myself and about life right now, it's like the time that after that show, that performance, where I was like, okay, no more music. Immediately, feeling of weight off of my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? And I feel so much better. My life has gotten so much better since I stopped doing music. So it's no regret for me. Like I don't look back like, damn, I should have kept doing it. Like, no, I'm actually, and I've actually sat down to write music, and I'm like, I made the right fucking decision. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, I use my Twitter as my journal. I used to journal write whatever thoughts or whatever crazy things happen throughout the day that I can write into a bit or whatever. And I go through back my Twitter and try to look at what I can make into a story or what I can use on. And I'm like, I'm cool just leaving it as a tweet. Like I don't know, because all right, so like it's so much because like right now the political like the environment like I don't know, it just doesn't feel right now, and I'm totally down to help whoever it wants to get in that space. But you're right, that weight, like I don't have it, right? Because there was a point at which I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to leave this comfortable life that I have that's allowing me to have the car that I have and live in the place that I do, and go all in. But I don't really want to do that. I don't want to live in my fucking car, like I, I know that you got to make that leap of faith to go all in, but I don't really want to do that. I'm good, because I think I can make more of an impact in my job that I'm in now. But yeah, so like that weight that you talked about for sure, like that, I felt that. So you take that, you close that chapter out, and so where have you taken that extra energy? Like, did you take some time you needed to meditate, or immediately you're like, I'm traveling now. I'm traveling and podcasting now.
Right. Okay. So I ended up what ended up happening with like that feeling after that Los Angeles trip. It ended up with me with a job in tech. Okay. So I had these like rose-colored lenses, glasses, thinking that getting into tech was going to provide me more money and more time.
Yeah.
And it was actually fucking true. So I ended up getting this job. But so I got hired at this job before I put out my last album. So it was kind of a natural transition. So I get this job that's like, at the time it was remote by choice, right?
Yeah.
But I had never worked a job like this. So I enjoyed going into the office. Like, it was there's a like a lot of tech companies have these fucking like campuses type of thing. You get free food.
It's a scam. It's a scam. It's a scam.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, no. I mean, look, like our worst days at work. I think like if we told any of our grandparents, they'd be like, "Wait, what was your issue?" Like, you got carpal tunnel. It's probably the most physical ailing issue we're gonna have.
Right, but see, this is what I'm gonna say. Like, I had these, and I say rose-colored lenses because a lot of people, my story has been different within my tech company, with my job. My shit has been fucking amazing. Okay, so even at the beginning when I first started working, it was just like this new place to be, and so, but there was still opportunity for me to just like work from my phone or work from my computer, right? And so when I went to London on a Thursday, came back on a Monday, and I let my people know, like, Thursday I'm out. I'm gonna, I'll try to respond from the computer. But Friday, I'll be working from London. And they was completely cool with it. I'm like, oh shit. Like this is what I need, right?
Right.
So now, so I got hired in May. The London trip happened in September. Yeah, the beginning of September. I stopped music the beginning of September. And then in December, I was flying to Singapore for my job. So I'm like, okay, this shit is just like, this is everything I fucking need.
Yeah.
So December 2019. Now fast forward to March 2020.
Right.
And my company is like, well, everybody's company is like, you're working from home.
Right.
Okay. So now, for the people that don't know, I'm a father, and I'm, a single father that had my daughter like every Wednesday and weekends.
Mm-hmm.
When the pandemic happened, her mother was pregnant. And so we didn't want to cross contaminate houses.
Right.
My daughter working, I'm doing her school. She first year middle school. So it was just like a very hard transition. We didn't want to like split her time between houses. So what did I do? I took my remote working ass and fucking traveled. You know what I'm saying? So I just dipped the fuck out.
Right.
And was like taking all these trips. So like the year 2020 and 2021, I was just constantly traveling, you know what I'm saying? And so that's pretty much, it just was like such a like.
How were you able to do that because I thought a lot of stuff was shut down.
Latin America wasn't shut down.
Okay.
So, 2020, Mexico wasn't shut down. So July 2020, excuse me, all of July, I traveled, I stayed in Tulum. And it was like
those poor people in Tulum, dude. Tulum became like the new like Cancun or like everybody was down in Tulum
because it was just like niggas knew Cancun wasn't shit, but the next best thing was Tulum, but it was actually better than Cancun. And so
those poor locals.
I know, right?
There's probably a bunch of half white, half black, and the Mexican babies running around Tulum right now.
I might have 3 of them, my nigga.
Papa.
Right. So that was like a trial for me. So I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go spend a month in Mexico, and I'm only gonna stay in one location. I'm gonna just book one hostel for the whole time and just see if I can like make it happen with all the temptation around me. I did it successfully. And then fast forward to the very end of October, Guatemala had opened their borders. So Guatemala was closed, but they opened their borders in October. So Guatemala was super high on my list. So as soon as I saw that they were opening their borders, I went there for like 2.5 weeks, I want to say. So that was my only travel in 2020. But 2021 is when people, like March 2021, starting then, I took 5 fucking trips in 2021.
Hey man,
open.
Hey, people were in the trenches here,
and I'm over here.
having healing sessions and out there protesting.
And I'm out here chasing white bitches in Mexico.
Oh,
God damn.
Hey, I had the best pandemic of all time. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I low key can't wait for the next global catastrophe to happen.
Right.
I had so much fucking fun.
Yeah. Oh. But the thing is, like, so of course, I definitely took a risk for myself, right? But I also took a risk with like contacting the virus and then giving it to somebody in one of these countries that doesn't have the best healthcare. Yeah. So that was one of those things I was like feeling guilty about that. But it was also like, man, I fucking struggled so goddamn much in my 20s when all these niggas was out here thriving and shit. It's my goddamn turn. Fuck y'all.
Hey,
and
man.
I say that to the people in my life, not the people globally.
You sounding real Republican right now. Hey, there was in the past like year and a half, I've been to some red states, and I'm like, yo, this is not that bad. Yeah, I get it. It's not that bad over here.
They was thriving for sure, spreading that shit hella much.
So okay, so you experienced the traveling. So what did you take away? I mean, damn, that's crazy. So like you come back to America, you're like, oh shit ain't sweet over here. I mean, what was that? What was your tie to all of that, right? Because I'll give you a quick glimpse into my life. You know me, I'm Mr. Friendly with everybody, right? So March happens and America rediscovers racism for the first time. And I'm getting calls from everybody, bro. White people, people I haven't talked to in years, Asians, half black, half white people asking me how they should feel. Like the fuck I'm what?
Like the George Floyd situation, you mean?
Yeah. Which I hate calling it George Floyd situation because I mean it's just weird. It's weird that that's what we use as a timestamp when one person died.
It was the spark of the cause. So that's why
it was a crazy like everyone's stuck at home watching TV, right? Because I mean, it was the greatest time to be working in tech. You're at the crib. You there have basketball, football, baseball, all on at once at TV, all throughout the day. And then we're stuck at home and we're all on our phones and we see George Floyd happen, Ahmaud Arbery. We see with the bird watcher, right? Like it was just like one thing after another. Like, yeah, I mean, the racists just got cocky. That's what happened. They started showboating. They were up. They blew a 3-1 lead, right? They just kept celebrating, or not celebrating, but just if one of those things happened, it's like, oh well, that's another thing. But it's just everything happened at once. It was so crazy. And then I was so happy we weren't in the office at the time because I had so many people at work reach out to me, Slack me messages like, hey, I just want you to know you matter. I'm like, that's thanks,
I knew that already, bitch ass.
So that was what my like early pandemic was like, was being involved as much as I could. I mean, I really wanted to. I felt like it was an opportunity for me to make an impact. But I had a lot of people reaching out to me asking how can they make changes and what should they do with their lives. Will you donate money to me? So what was your tie back to America in pandemic and race war at that time? Or were you just completely just like I'm
disconnected from all that shit. I've always been. I don't want to let what's the word I'm looking for? Like I will, I deal with that type of shit on my own. I'm not very forward with the race relations and shit on social media and stuff like that. So like the first couple of days of like all the riots and all that shit, it was definitely affecting me. And I had conversations offline with people that I met on my travels that didn't live in America because they had questions. And I was kind of like their tie.
Exactly.
I especially my whole life, I've always kind of been the token black guy, especially when I travel. And if I'm staying in a hostel, I am the only black motherfucker in there. And I am a nigga that grew up in West Oakland, California. So I am an actual real black nigga that these motherfuckers get to meet. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to do the black versus nigga type of shit, but it's like
you were a rapper.
And I'm a rapper, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I mean, all jokes aside though, like people, I will be the glimpse for people into like what being a Black American actually is outside of the country, you know what I'm saying? So you need to take that with how you want to, but a lot of people will hit me up just with questions, like, or they'll be checking on me and shit. Of course, I had a couple of coworkers that were checking on me. And I remember there was this one time I got invited into a meeting with a bunch of the other, so I'm like an executive assistant. That's what I do for my job. So I got invited into another meeting with a bunch of other admins, all white women, talking about what was going on. And I'm sitting there for like literally 3 seconds, bro. Not sorry, 3 minutes. And I just X'd it all out.
Yeah.
And so the only actual discussion that I had about what was going on with a coworker was one of the execs that I used to work for. He was the head of IT at the time. He's a white dude, grew up in Illinois, I think, or he grew up somewhere in Midwest, but he got his like formative years in Chicago because he went to school in Chicago. Hella cool. We were such good friends. He was so down to earth, so cool. And he was the only person at my job that I had a talk with about what was going on. But just because me and him had this like already like friendship, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, I wasn't talking that shit with nobody else at my job.
No, yeah.
And went to a couple of the protests. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't thought about that time in so fucking long, bro. I don't even know how I was feeling.
It was only 2 years ago. He said I went to a few protests like it was a cookout. Hey, Oakland, but it was because I was in Southern California. I was like in Oxnard at the time. You know what I'm saying? Where it was me and 4 other black folks. And the other 3 black folks were in the same family. So it wasn't like, I was having to watch everything from afar in the news and hearing from my mom what was going on. You were you lived in a really big hotbed, right? There's like Portland, there's Oakland, LA, obviously there was a lot happening all along the West Coast. I mean, was it like the trenches though? Like was it anarchy?
In downtown, yes, not any other part of Oakland. But another thing that like people don't realize, as a black person, I can also choose to not like we already go through the shit.
I know.
It's not our job to get online and express how we feel. It's not our job to get online to educate motherfuckers. Like if I want to be hands off, it's my right as a black person to be fucking hands off on this shit.
Absolutely, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's on everybody else to do the work to whip this country back into shape. We are the ones that did it.
No, what I prescribed what was happening was a lot of people's eyes were finally open, right? Because you had a lot of people that were like, oh, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. All these times I've been talking to myself blue to the face saying, yo, it's like this. And people looking like I'm crazy, right? Now I got this massive validation. And what a lot of what I think our white counterparts are trying to do is like cram for a test that they had to take in the morning and fix it all by tomorrow. Right. And that was the feeling I got. And, in being involved in the conversations, I was always worried. I'm like, hey, I just feel like this is flavor of the month, right? Like I just want y'all to know, like, it's been like this for a while, and there's nothing we do right now that's going to fix tomorrow, but this is going to be a continuous change. I want going back to your traveling. This is kind of like an overdramatic question, but did you feel like any type of responsibility being a lot of these people's first person from Oakland first? Like, did you ever feel that on your travels, or were you just like, I'm just here to have a good time? Don't put that shit on me.
Absolutely not. I do not feel no fucking responsibility to educate or to be that person for anybody.
Not even educate, but did you feel like, all right, if I fuck up, I'm gonna make it look bad for all of us?
Absolutely not. Fuck that shit. No, I don't. But I will say I do know that it's there. So I do enjoy being a good source of like I am proud that I can be somebody's first experience with a real Black American. You know what I'm saying? What's so funny, bro? What's so funny?
Nothing. I'm proud to be someone's first. I hate being the first Black person for anybody.
But okay. It's not. This is what I'm saying. Like you asked the question, right? So like,
no, yeah.
But I don't go around look like I'm gonna be the first Black person that these motherfuckers are gonna. But I will say though that I am glad that like the person that I am, how sensible I am, how I can get down to anybody's level, no matter how old they are or young they are, no matter what race they are, no matter what their background. I can get down and make friends and positively affect anybody in this world. I'm very proud of that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care to be the first Black person, but I do know that like I'm gonna have a positive reaction or positive influence on anybody. So but I am very glad that I can be. If somebody's looking at it like, okay, I just met a Black American, I'm glad it's me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
So I think I love the idea of traveling. I've never done it before, and I think because I never have done it solo, I meant solo. Like I have this, it's just I think it's a natural like fear of the unknown. What do I need to do to prepare myself to get ready to take on the travels like you? Like what is a hostel experience like? You know, how do you? What are the things that you look for in you know getting ready for your next location?
I mean, the fear of unknown is always going to be there, right? Because I always have that feeling too. If it's something brand new that I'm getting into, I'm gonna have some anxiety about it. But it's one of those things that you just got to realize that it's actually not as hard or complicated as we let our minds think it is. You know, it's actually super fucking easy to do. So easy to the point where I've gone the country without doing any research. Like the only research that I've done is like figure out the cheapest and best place to fly into and one of the best hostels in that area, in that city to stay in, and only book it for like 2 nights and then let the trip go on it, you know, like naturally.
Right.
And I've done that many times successfully. And like, and that's how fucking easy it is. And so go ahead. What are you gonna say?
How do you navigate the language barrier? And I mean, look, this is stupid, but you know, coming from Oakland, I always got my you know my ears up right to like what's the local scenery like wherever I go. So I mean, those two things like how do you navigate your safety and how do you navigate you know getting over the language barrier part?
Okay, so this is one of these kind of like culture shock things that I actually had. One, that we are privileged as fuck to speak English.
Okay.
English is if there's a tourist infrastructure, somebody's gonna speak some sort of English,
Okay.
at least enough where you can
Get by.
navigate.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also just speaking to the language barrier. A lot of it is hand gestures. A lot of it is like using words that people are gonna know, like you know, toilet is pretty.
Right.
But it's also I can also be like,
Yeah.
put my hand in like toilet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or food, like food,
Right.
good restaurant, good food. Like a lot of things like that is
Yeah.
universal. Now, another culture shock of a privilege that I didn't realize I would ever fucking have, and this speaks to a lot of in Latin America, is being a fucking Black man.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
Now, in a lot of so I'm 6 foot. I'm not that skinny as I used to be.
Yeah.
A lot of men in Latin America are very fucking small naturally.
Right.
Okay, so I am not the target.
You're right.
For
You're the
niggas.
threat.
You said what? Not
You're
even
the
the
threat.
threat. It's not even the threat, but it's just like if I'm walking by a group and you see a like okay, and for instance, when I was in Colombia, I can survive a lot easier than I could if I was a white person because there's a lick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They are the target. Like, oh, these gringos are definitely not from here, and they got money. So let's go land that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You see my Black ass walking, I look like I could fit. I could be from there. You know what I'm saying? So there is that privilege there. That privilege probably doesn't exist in other parts of the world. I haven't been to that many continents or that many countries yet, but okay, now outside of that, you know, it's just about research, man. It's like I use Reddit a lot because Reddit is such a vast user community that you can pretty much get an answer from a real human that is done or used whatever you're researching. You can get an answer from a real life human. You know what I'm saying? Like a real world example. But especially with travel, everybody's been everywhere. You know what I mean by that. Like
right. Someone did every part of
exactly. You're gonna have something to say. So it's just about research. Like, how safe did you feel? And then when people, if it's a place that I really want to go to, and I do some research and I'm looking on Reddit and somebody's like, I didn't feel safe at all. I'm like, okay, that's probably like a it's probably some white dude that fucking grew up in front of a computer his whole life. Like, I just stereotyped him in my head, and I'm like, okay, I'll be able to survive. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be good. Yeah,
I will be good.
We're having a convention soon, and I don't want to say the location, but there's been a lot of people just kind of concerned about the local safety, and I'm like, so I'll be good. That's exactly because there's a lot of the tech nerds, right? Yeah, I'm gonna be all right.
And then the other thing is, also got to realize that the American view of the world is so skewed. You know what I'm saying? We're not educated worldly in America, like at a baseline level. There are people that will go and get their education, a worldly education, when they further their education, like in college, or if they travel, if they already have there. So there are exceptions, but at a baseline, Americans don't have a very vast worldly view. So we look at it like, you know, perfect example. You take a nigga from the hood. This nigga ain't been nowhere else but the hood. You take him to a suburb or like a place where he don't got to back. He gonna still be like, nigga, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you don't have to. Every part of the city is not like where you grew up. And so it's the same way worldwide. You know what I'm saying?
I live in San Diego, like I said, man. I'm always walking around and looking in cars. I'm like, oh my God, why are they leaving that in there? Why are they leaving that in there? Right. And now I look like the suspect looking in other people's cars. But I'm like, yo, if y'all would get bit so quick. So two questions. Number one, what is the thing that you've come back from your travels and you feel kind of a snob about? Like, I mean, regardless if it's subconscious or conscious.
You don't gotta, I know this.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody, I fucking hate it here, bro. The way that people think, I fucking hate, I hate the small-mindedness of the people that I'm surrounded by. I feel like such a fucking elitist snob. It's like, you niggas don't know anything, bro. Like, I hate the opinions of people that have never been nowhere. I fucking hate, like,
how do you have so much to say with so little experience?
Bruh, exactly. When I can, like, it's a fucking such a point of frustration from me, because it's like people's opinions on shit that I'm saying or what I'm doing, or like, it's so small-minded that it's like, it's not even worth it for me to explain why the way that they think is not correct for just the way I'm living my life. It's like, why would I fucking explain quantum physics to a fucking 3-year-old? Bitch, you're not gonna be able to wrap your head around why I do what I do, or say that or what I wear, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I fucking hate it. That's
one of the leading causes of me getting like really depressed when I was living back in Oxnard, man. I'm surrounded by people that all pretty much think the same way. I'm not going to say their way of thinking is wrong or right, but it wasn't what I needed. And being around people that are complacent in what they're doing, and I remember there were nights I tell people about like my goals and dreams, and look at me like I'm an alien. Like, what do you mean goals? What do you mean you want more? Like, you have more. And I remember one dude cussed me out that I thought was one of my friends, cussed me out for having aspirations of doing better in my life. He's like, you're already doing better than me. I'm like, that's what? You have nothing to do with my life.
Right.
And coming down to San Diego has been like it's such a fucking life lift for me, man. Just being around again people that are my age that are hustling and doing better, if not as good as me. That shit is inspiring to me. I want to be around people that are better than me, or also you know, hustling. Like I have a friend that just got into her first uh, uh, Disney Plus show. You know, she's been trying to break in as an actress for a long time now. You know, she's that moves to California and wants to be a model actress, and she's actually doing that shit. Like that shit's inspiring to me.
Shout out to
But
her.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm so I guess long way around to coming back to how are you keeping yourself from, you know, you are the one or few of many in your situation. I mean, is it getting to you? Are you able to have perspective that a lot of people just haven't experienced much and I'm good, or are you getting ever to that point where you're like, am I the crazy one?
You mean like going back to what I was like feeling like a elitist snob about?
Yeah, yeah,
No, I just, okay. I'm like I say, I'm a very self-aware person, and I know that I can't be an elitist snob to my friends when it comes to shit like that. So I end up just calming the fuck down. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And I pick and choose my battles, and
yeah,
I just continue to keep my eyes on my next trip. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And it's like it's always an open invitation to all my homies. Like, bro, you know, a lot of people will be like, you know, I would love to travel the way that you do, but I'm scared to do it by myself. So
yeah,
I will always hit them up like, yo, I'm going on this trip. It might be last minute, but I'm going. You're always welcome to come, but just
mhm.
know that like if shit gets annoying, I'm dipping off on your ass because I like to travel by myself, and I'm not gonna allow you to
Yeah.
ruin my
To bring my
experience.
shit. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
Are there
saying?
people you've crossed off your travel list? Like I'll never travel with you again.
No, because I haven't traveled with many people. I've only
Uh,
traveled with, well, so my first trip to Japan was with 6 other people. All of those folks I would travel with again because we all travel perfectly.
mm,
Um, I traveled with my homie Faraz, but I met him in Thailand. So
mm,
we just so happened to take another trip together. He's from Canada. So
mm.
me and him are already hostile staying type of people, backpackers. So we traveled along greatly. And now there is one person we can segue to this shit that I would never travel again, but that's just because, excuse my language, everybody, I fucking hate that bitch.
Did you find out on the plane? Did you find out like a week into the trip? Like how long did it take you to realize this person was going to ruin your enjoyment?
It was 5 days. It was on a boat.
Yeah.
So okay, let me give. So it was an ex of mine. We
Ah,
actually traveled together really well. It was
ah,
actually a good trip until I found out some absolute bullshit with her.
ah.
And so yeah, I
Did you
only
change your flight back home and everything?
no. So it just so happened. So I'm okay. Let me give a little bit more context, and I'm trying not to like. I don't want
You
to.
don't have to if you don't want
No,
to.
no, it's cool because it's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
First of all, okay. So everybody, I'm not. I don't want to like promote the shit, but basically, I was dating somebody who was on a reality TV dating show at the same time that we were dating. Okay, now I have told people that because it makes the story a little bit funnier. I told people that she was cheating on me on the show, and like I didn't have really any idea. Like I found out while we were in Colombia together. That's
Yeah.
not technically the truth. I knew about the show from the very beginning, but
Yeah.
she just went about it in a very, very selfish and like evil ass way. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't until that we were in Colombia. I went through her phone 5 days before our trip was over, but it was at the
Yeah.
beginning of this 5 day boat journey. So we were
Yeah.
stuck on a boat together for 5 days. So I went through her phone and I found out she was basically lying about a whole bunch of shit. So she basically was cheating. I just was giving her the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying?
Because you
So
have to. Because why would you assume it? Or if you assume it, you might as well just cut it out.
no,
Damn.
100%. I mean, we
Yeah.
were in communication about everything, but like most evil people, they're gonna take your kindness for weakness. They're gonna take your benefit of the doubt for weakness, and you know what I'm saying. We was also on a long distance shit, so I couldn't really catch her up on anything until I got to her in person.
I'm
So
such a fucked up person, dude. I'm such a fucked up person. You imagine? You
what?
imagine, you imagine being stuck on a boat. and you got beef with somebody, and then
Oh,
you end up being locked up next to him on a ship to America.
bro, bro,
I, you,
bro, this shit was the most awkward. Okay, let me paint another picture with this though. So this journey it wasn't back to America. It was from Colombia to Panama.
Let's talk about the slave ship.
Oh God.
You
Oh,
imagine you like me and you have a falling out, right? Man, fuck Brandon. I ain't fucking with him no more.
and I'm shackled to you.
I gotta cut, I gotta cut this part out.
No, don't
Oh.
keep that shit in, man.
All right, fuck it. Season 3, we doing different shit.
Right,
Season 3.
exactly. But yeah, no, that was one of the most beautiful and horrible 5 days of my entire fucking life, because I was in paradise. And so this trip that I wanted to take from from Colombia to Panama was something I had been waiting. It's like it was a bucket list item.
Right.
And it just so happened that I was like, well, here, I want to be able to travel with a girlfriend. That was another goal of mine. And to have, that shit was horrible, bro. That shit, like,
dude,
now.
Would you ever do it again? Is like, would you willing to test that? Or are you like, you know what, I like you too much, maybe we shouldn't travel. I don't want to ruin our relationship together.
No. 100%.
But it was more so you found the information though. That was more so, it wasn't like the actual trip. Yeah.
No, so
Damn.
the scenario is that, like, through our relationship, she was already a horrible person. And I just was giving her more chances. Mm-hmm. I fucked up by not ending it before I did. Like, right. We shouldn't have gotten to December to go to Colombia together. That's right. What I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, I broke up with her already, but then let her back. Like, my fuck up was not staying away after the first breakup. You know what I'm saying? So it's just.
Hey, man. Oh, boy. You think it was easier to cheat like when our grandparents was around? Like, you think because were they doing that? Like, you had to want to get caught at that point. If you ever got caught back then,
bro, they were definitely cheating. That's why the marriages worked so long that they did, because our grandpops was out here fucking everything moving. We fucked up by trying to be monogamous. I'm fucking around.
Oh my God! No wonder why Grandpa was so stuck around with Grandma for so long.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God! You had to want to get caught cheating though back then.
I mean,
there was no way to track your location. Oh, I mean, you accidentally leave her knickers in your pocket. No, you wanted to get
some perfume on the shirt and shit. That's how they got caught up back then.
But everybody was funky back then, so it's like, why are you smelling good? Just go roll through some dirt or something real quick.
Yeah, oh no, niggas was slipping, man. Niggas been slipping since the beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? Pussy will make you do that, Jack. It make you lapse in judgment.
Oh boy. That's why people started the wars back then. This is a distract. Why you give me my business right now? We worried about.
No, I wasn't fucking Susie. I was out there killing Hitler. What are you talking
about? Oh God, I missed this, man. Okay, all right. So we fast forward into current time. You still obviously have this travel bug. You have been mixing in the studio.
Oh yeah, DJing. Yeah.
So is that something that, I mean, is that your tie back to music somehow? Or are you actually just working on your craft? Is that something that you hope to be a touring DJ at some point? What's up? It's just fun?
I'm just having fun, Jack. I'm not doing nothing that's not fun no more. Like, DJing is just fun because there's no, like, you know what I'm saying? There's no, there is expectations because people want to fucking have fun, but like, it's so much fun. I love dancing. I love partying. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's not that hard to play music that people are going to dance to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So getting drunk and fucking playing and pushing buttons and playing music with people is just hella fun. So I'm not looking at to be like, I definitely want to get better at it because like when I went to New York, you know, you see people DJing and they're DJing on like vinyls or DJing with CDJs, which is different than the controller that I have.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to get better at that so that if the opportunity for me to DJ more in like New York or things like that pop up, I'm not just stuck like, oh, I can only DJ on my controller because that's all I know. But I'm not trying to make it as no DJ. I'm not trying. I'm just having fun, bro. That's all it is.
Right.
That's all.
So is there like a next is there like a next level for you? Because I know you in every step of the way. I mean, I've known you in every step since I've known you. You've elevated your game somehow, some way, and it's always again, what I said earlier, it draws back to inspiring other people around you. Is there something else right now that you're working towards? I know you're just having fun right now. It sounds like you have a pretty solid job that's allowing you to have some freedom. Is there something that you're working towards, or you're good right now?
I'm good right now. Like, well, you know, photography is another thing that I've like jumped in full head first into. And so I want to make a book. You know what I'm saying? I want to publicize my photos. But other than that, bro, I mean, my only goal is to continue to see the world and to meet people. Because that's been the thing that's been giving me the most joy is like being in beautiful places, experiencing these beautiful places with other travelers that I've been meeting. Like I haven't had joy that I felt like this since since like I was a fucking kid going into Toys R Us. Like the joy that I get from those experiences, like literally being in a beautiful place with new, amazing people that I meet on my travels is like something that brings me so much fucking joy.
Yeah. So I got some like rapid fire travel questions, cliche travel questions. Just answer them as fast as you can without thinking too hard. So if someone's going to give you a plot of land in this place that you've been to, where would you want it? Just
Thailand.
Thailand. Where specifically?
I don't know.
Yeah. So have you been back to Thailand since you
I've been twice already, and I'm taking my dad in the spring, so it'll be my third time there.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. All right. What place would you have a wedding?
At what place would I have a wedding? Fuck, Thailand. It's probably gonna be the answer for every goddamn question. That's my favorite.
All right. What was unexpectedly your favorite place?
Unexpectedly, my favorite place. I guess I was Guatemala actually.
Why?
So like I knew, like I saw YouTube videos about it, and it looked like it lined up for like what I like about a country, and it just like exceeded my expectations. I've been there twice, and the second trip was even better than my first. So it's just yeah.
The place that most reminded you of Oakland.
The place that most reminded me of Oakland. Damn. I guess I'll say Colombia.
Really?
Yeah. Why? What's so funny? What you laughing at?
Ice City, baby.
I guess the reason I would say that is because there's Afro Latinas, and there's a big population of Afro Latinas in Colombia. And the energy out there is just kind of like, you know, people dancing hella much, and it had a very similar energy, I guess. Wait, I couldn't hear you. Wait, yeah, I can't hear your audio no more. There we go. I hear you.
All right. Best food.
Best food, Vietnam.
Okay. Damn. That's okay.
It's almost between Thailand and Vietnam. Like,
okay.
Yeah, Thailand might inch out a little bit higher, but Vietnam, the food was so good, but it was like so fucking cheap, even cheaper than Thailand. So yeah, it's hard for me to pick between Thailand and Vietnam for sure.
Baddest girls.
Colombia, hands fucking down. Oh my god. I could share a crazy ass story, but I don't know if you like if
I already made a slave joke. No, keep it off. Keep it off. I think my grandma watches these. I'm not sure.
I'll tell you offline, but it's woo boy.
what was the worst place that you never go back to?
The worst place that I would never go back to, Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because
I just didn't have a good time out there. Yeah,
you can't chew gum out there, right? Is that still true?
it's like, no, you can chew gum, you just can't like spit it on the ground and shit.
Yeah.
But now I did, I gotta preface it by saying, or disclaimer by saying, like, I went there for work. So I didn't
Mm,
get my usual like hostel
mm-hmm,
experience. I was like kind
mm-hmm,
of, when I did my exploring, I was by myself, which is when I
mm-hmm,
don't really have the best time like
mm-hmm,
that. Like I like to interact with people. So I didn't have that like normal
mm.
backpacking experience in Singapore.
Yeah.
But just, for the sake of the question, that's my answer.
All right, and then two more. All right, so what was the scariest? Where was the scariest moment for you traveling?
Um, so first time in Thailand, I crashed my motor scooter.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
And so actually, this is actually very fucking scary. It's funny actually. So prior to this, I was on this island called Koh Phangan,
Mm-hmm,
and it's where this party called the Full Moon Party happened.
mm-hmm,
I highly recommend it to anybody if you're into like big party type of shit.
mm-hmm.
Go there.
These are
So
like it's like mushroom parties, aren't they?
no, 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 no. They have mushrooms there, but it's not a
Yeah.
mushroom party. It's a full moon party. So it happens every once a month
Okay.
on the full moon uh, at sundown. Basically, the party goes from sundown to sunrise on this
Yeah.
humongous, beautiful beach with like 20 to 30,000 people. The whole island just comes alive for this party. It's so much
Mm-hmm,
fucking fun. But like I was there for, I think I was on the island for like a couple of days, and there was one conversation that I was having because one of my homies had earlier in his trip in Thailand had crashed his motor scooter and had like some scars on his arms or whatever. So
uh-huh.
we were just kind of like having this like open discussion about hospitals in Thailand. And this one dude was like, "Man, I heard about, people going, you got to be careful because when you go into the hospital, I've heard of
Mm-hmm.
people get like going in for a minor injury and waking up and their limb is gone."
Shut up. Oh shit.
This is like one of those wives' tale type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, right,
Everybody
right.
hears from the grapevine some bullshit or whatever. So I just hear that.
Yeah.
It was just like a very casual part of the conversation. We all kind of like, oh wow, that's crazy. Because you hear about shit like this all the time. Fast forward like 2 days, I crash a motor scooter, end up at the doctor because so basically I crashed one day, but I thought, we're not used to going to doctors and shit. So I was like, I'll be able to make it. Like I'll go
Yeah.
to sleep. I'll see how I feel tomorrow type of shit.
Right.
Woke up, my shit was already all like infected and shit. Like
Infected, yeah.
yeah, so I ended up in the hospital and I got taken, like put on a gurney. Okay, I'm like, first off, why am I laying down on the gurney?
It's just small.
My shoulder, like, it is just scraped up a bit. All I need y'all to do is clean it and bandage it, nigga. So look, I'm laying down, and it's like 4 or 5 nurses speaking Thai to each other, pointing at different parts of my body. I'm thinking,
This looks healthy. This looks healthy. This looks healthy. Knock this out. We can make about 250 from this.
oh my god, nigga, my heart was pumping. I was so scared. And
That's
then
hilarious.
because nobody was speaking English, right? And so then the doctor comes out. The doctor speaks perfect English, like no accent English. Oh my God, I felt so much better. I'm like, oh, oh God damn.
He
Oh,
walked in, you said, my nigga. All right, last question is uh dream travel partner. Like who anyone in the world would you want to invite on a trip with you?
like a real person, right?
Hopefully. Oh, we're not
Wait,
trying to construct.
I didn't know if he was. Okay,
I want this person to be about 5'2".
I didn't know if it's like dead or alive type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, let's make it alive.
Alive. I would say Steve-O from Jackass.
Okay, yeah, you guys would get into some shit for sure.
Exactly.
That's what's
But
up, man.
a
What?
more realistic answer, I would say Langston, because we have traveled on domestic things before, but we've never done like a backpacking trip, my style of backpacking trip.
Yeah.
And I know we would have a great ass time.
When I just remember two stories bumping into you at where you used to work at that depressing ass place, and you showed me a video of him almost dying. He almost drowned. You said it so casually too. You like you want to go see you want to see this video of Langston almost drowning? Like you're laughing and it's like horrific. And then the other one was from that LA trip where you said he was crying from joy. You talked about when he started leading a yoni circle.
Yeah. It's like only this nigga. I was like, what the fuck?
That's amazing. And I obviously, man, I haven't really interacted with too many people from the Bay. Unfortunately, I'm really bad at communicating, but I love to see the impact he's still having. Like he was born to be a host of something,
Right.
and a leader of something. I hope his family is doing good. B always checks in on me. Brandon always checks in on me. And then you, of course. But aside from that, I really don't keep up with many people back home. So I love to see you guys still alive. That's good, and still and still doing your things. I appreciate that. But yeah, man, this was a good first episode to kick off the season, man. I would anytime you're down to San Diego or down Southern California, like let me know. But if I can get you doing any shows, also, like I'm starting to get into some event coordinating again. So I'd love to get you involved if you're down in Mob down here.
Oh, hey, bro, you already know the same one. I'm always looking for an excuse to get
Yeah,
the fuck out of here.
yeah.
If you need me to DJ or even come take photos, you just let me know.
Bet.
We'll work it out.
All right, man. Well, where can people find your stuff if you
Um,
have any stuff to find?
right, yeah. I mean, my podcast, my music, my photography, everything. I mean, photography I'm still doing, but like podcast
Yeah,
music is still out there.
yeah.
Search for Beejus. My website is awkwardfreespirit.com. My artist name is and was, I should say was and still is somewhat Beejus, which is B as in boy, Eejus. I'm now kind of going by the Brandon. I'm just going back to the name my mama gave me. But on Twitter, I'm at Beejus. At Instagram, I'm the Brandon 510. I definitely use Instagram more than I do Twitter. But yeah, my shit's out there. My photography and my travel and shit is what I'm more focused on. I do have a YouTube channel called Awkward Free Spirit. So yeah, there you go.
Cool, bet. Well, man, I appreciate your time, dog.
It's all good, man. I appreciate you and allow me to be on.
You're right.